The mirror doesn't show my reflection anymore. It shows something worse. The house was of steel, which should have been my first clue. A two-story Victorian with peeling paint and a skeleton of a garden, sold as is for a price that screamed desperation. I was desperate too, trying to outrun the ghost of a failed relationship and the claustrophobia of my city apartment. I saw potential in its high ceilings and dusty, sun-drenched rooms. I saw a blank slate. The mirror was already there, hanging in the upstairs hallway. It was an immense, ostentatious thing, its heavy, silver gilt frame tarnished with age, and crawling with intricate carvings of vines and gaunt, weeping faces. It was too big to move, and, I admitted, it possessed a certain Gothic charm, so it stayed. For the first few weeks it was just a mirror. It reflected the shabby runner on the floor, the water-stained wallpaper I planned to strip, and me, in my paint-splattered jeans, looking more tired than I felt. The first time I noticed something was wrong, it was subtle. I was walking towards the bathroom, scratching an itch on the back of my neck. As I passed the mirror, I caught my own eye. My reflection was there, but its hand was still by its side. A half-second later, with a delay that felt like a skipped heartbeat, its arm moved to mimic mine. I stopped dead, my own hand frozen mid-scratch. I stared, my heart thumping a nervous rhythm against my ribs. My reflection stared back, perfectly still, as it should be. I waved. It waved back instantly. I shook my head, blaming fatigue and the strange, disorienting light of the old house. It was nothing. It had to be nothing. But it happened again. And again. The lag became more pronounced. A syncopation in reality that was impossible to ignore. Sometimes, as I walked away, I'd glance back over my shoulder to see my reflection still standing there for a full second, watching me go, before it vanished. The hallway grew colder. I started taking the long way around, using the back stairs to avoid passing it. Then, the true horror began. It wasn't just late anymore, it was different. One Tuesday morning I was heading down for coffee, my mind a fog of sleep. I glanced at the mirror out of morbid habit. I was wearing a gray t-shirt and boxers. But the man in the mirror was dressed in my best suit. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking down, his shoulders shaking with silent sobs. He looked devastated, heartbroken. I stood, transfixed in my pajamas, watching this alternate, grieving version of myself until I couldn't bear it and fled downstairs. The image burned into my mind. The visions grew more frequent, more disturbing. I'd see my reflection talking on the phone, its face pale with fury, mouthing words to a conversation I wasn't having. I'd see it meticulously cleaning a non-existent stain from the wooden floorboards. One sweltering afternoon, I saw it huddled in my winter coat, shivering violently, its breath pluming in the air of a world that wasn't mine. It was showing me things that hadn't happened, things that might happen, things that never would. It was a window into a dozen wrong lives, all of them wearing my face. I tried to cover it. I dragged a heavy linen sheet upstairs and flung it over the frame. I felt a wave of relief so powerful it made me dizzy. For 2 days there was peace. On the third morning, I came out of my bedroom to find the sheet lying in a heap on the floor. I froze. I lived alone. Slowly, I lifted my gaze to the mirror. My reflection stood there, as expected, but it smiled. It was a slow, predatory smile that didn't touch its eyes. My own mouth was a grim, straight line. As I watched, horrified, it raised a hand and pressed its palm flat against the glass from its side. And then it whispered. I heard it not through my ears, but inside my skull, a dry, sibilant rustle like dead leaves skittering across pavement. Don't you want to see? The paranormal imagery intensified. Fleeting visions of blood became common. I'd be brushing my teeth, and in the mirror, thick, dark blood would pour from my reflection's mouth, staining its chin and chest. I'd drop my toothbrush, check my own face frantically, and find nothing. One evening, the reflection simply stood there, as the wall behind it seemed to peel away, revealing not the hallway of my house, but a writhing, organic darkness, pulsing like a diseased heart. I was coming apart. I wasn't sleeping. I was afraid to be in my own home. I decided to destroy it. I didn't care about the cost or the mess. The thing had to go. Armed with a sledgehammer from the garage, my hands slick with sweat, I marched up the stairs. My heart was a war drum. I rounded the corner into the hallway, and what I saw stopped me cold. The reflection was waiting. It wasn't mimicking me holding a hammer. It stood empty-handed, its posture unnervingly calm. Its face, however, was a mask of triumphant, ravenous hunger. The air in the hallway grew thick and heavy, pressing in on me. The light from the window seemed to bend and warp around the mirror's frame, as if it were a black hole consuming reality itself. "It's time," the voice hissed in my head. It raised its hand and touched the glass again, but this time the surface of the mirror rippled like water. Its fingers, pale and waxy, began to push through. I should have run. I should have swung the hammer, but I was paralyzed by a terror so absolute it felt like ice in my veins. The reflection's arm slid out of the mirror impossibly into my world. The air it displaced was frigid, smelling of damp earth and decay. It reached for me. My body moved without my consent, drawn forward as if by an irresistible magnetic pull. The sledgehammer clattered to the floor. As the reflection's cold fingers brushed my arm, a violent, wrenching sensation tore through me. The world dissolved into a blinding white light, a cacophony of shattering glass that no one but me could hear. When my vision cleared, I was standing somewhere else. The air was still and silent. I was looking out into my hallway. I saw my own back. I saw the man who looked like me bend down, pick up the sledgehammer, and rest it casually on his shoulder. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I tried to move, but my feet were fused to the floor. I raised my hand and saw it move on the other side of the glass. The man in my hallway, the thing turned. He looked at me, trapped in the silver frame. He ran a hand through my hair. He looked into the mirror, at me, and his lips curved into my smile. It was perfect. It was a smile I recognized. He gave me a small conspiratorial wink. Then he turned and walked down the stairs, whistling a cheerful tune, leaving me behind. I am still here. I beat against the cold, unyielding surface, but my fists make no sound. I scream until my silent throat is raw. I watch as it lives my life. The mirror doesn't show my reflection anymore. It shows me. And the thing that walks and talks and breathes in my place, the thing that is so much worse than a mere reflection, is finally free.